Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Workshop Chronicles. Today I'm down in Stevenage with Jason, the owner and managing director of Mouth Motor Company Limited. So Jason, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
I am doing good. Thank you so much for an honor and this privilege to have a chat with you. So, one question I would just want to start with is, how has the weather treated you this week, especially with the business?
The weather's hard going, mobile-wise. Monday was a bit of a disaster with the weather.
Yeah, it was.
It was hit and miss. It was working in stages, purely because it was so torrential.
Oh, okay.
90% of the time we're normally all right. We have pop-up gazebos, which have been provided to us from one of our affiliates with Castrol.
Oh, okay.
So they come in handy. 10 minutes to put them up, 10 minutes to put them away. It's great. But if it's blowing a gale like it has been and it's absolutely torrential, they're not the greatest. So nothing is portable-wise. So.
Oh, okay. So today's quite different today.
Today's nice.
Yes.
Today's ideal work.
So what's a typical day for you from the morning to when you get back home?
So typical day after dealing with everything and normal household stuff in the morning. Normally 6 a.m. start prepping for work. Make sure all my orders in. I've got part suppliers that are fantastic. I can WhatsApp them at 6 o'clock in the morning. They're normally in their shops because I use a local motor factors and a couple of large ones.
Oh, okay.
Got direct contacts with them. Normally most of them are in sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. So they'll message me and go, yeah, all your bits are in, all ready for you to go, all ready to come pick up. So I'll go there, pick them up and then just crack on with the day.
How far do you go?
So mobile van, we cover Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, Suffolk, borderline into Buckinghamshire.
Oh, okay.
Not massively into Buckinghamshire. We kind of have a cut-off point of sort of Milton Keynes-ish, up to sort of Kettering, right the way around to sort of Ipswich.
Okay.
We deal with some of Essex, but again, we sort of borderline Essex.
Just depends on
the area or sort of the distance, the location. Also depends on the customer. Obviously, customers up and move.
Yes.
So normally, I've got one literally has just moved to Northampton. Used to live around the corner. I go up. I'm going up to do his car next week. He kind of knows it's not somewhere I cover, but because he's used me from day one,
he probably prefers
you me to do it. Yeah. I said, look, I'll go up, I'll do it. I said, I can find someone up there that can then take over from my service for you. I said, purely because when we're coming this sort of distance, we kind of have to make a day of it.
It is, yeah.
Because obviously you're driving an hour and a half, 2 hours to a job to do, let's just say a service, for example.
Those are dead hours.
Which is an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of work. To then drive back, you've done a 6 hour day effectively, but you've only done an hour and a half to 2 hours work. So we have to kind of make it work into our day.
Yes.
So it's not too bad because obviously the areas we pick up and the areas we do stuff in, we can sort of pick up jobs on the way, jobs on the way back.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of management from time side of, okay, so if I've got a job, say in Cambridge, the commute from here to Cambridge, I can pick up. Well, I don't pick up, I tend to book. So if I've got something in Cambridge, it's either first thing in the morning or can make it midway through the day and then can work jobs around it. So from Cambridge, you can go, okay, so we can do one in Peterborough afterwards because it's an hour up the road.
Yes.
And then we can work our way back. So we kind of look at it on a map and go, yeah, we can book you for that day. We can book you for that day. So I mean, Cambridge prime example because I can do Stevenage in the morning or in the evening because it's start and finish point.
Oh, okay.
But you can pick up Letchworth, Royston, the surrounding villages around Cambridge. So you can make a day of doing a couple of jobs each, going to or coming back.
What are the chances? What are the chances at times to find these jobs to add within?
It's normally all right because obviously we've been trading 6 years.
Okay.
We've got a customer base already. And obviously word of mouth is amazing in this trade.
Yes.
It's the biggest thing. Word of mouth reviews are starting to come on with it, but a lot of the review stuff now, I think you can't get a better review than word of mouth. Whether they've wrote it on Google, whether they've put it on Trustpilot, whether they've put it on any other social media platform, I still think the biggest recommendation you get is someone going, oh, I know someone that can come and do that, regardless of whether it's a car, painting and decorating, every trade. I think word of mouth is the biggest.
Yes, because it's when someone actually tells you about your services to another person, that person trusts it more than just reading it online.
Exactly. Because I think a lot of the online stuff, it's so easy to get negative reviews on online.
Yes.
Because people want to vent, and the only person they can vent it to is online.
Yeah.
Is type it, because then the world can see it.
Yes.
It cannot be changed. It cannot be altered. It can be hidden to a point where you get so many positives put over the top. But from my point of view, I go out for a meal, I have an expectation.
Yes.
If they meet that expectation, I'm not going to go home and go, oh, I'll write a review about that. That was all right. That was quite nice. It was what I expected. If the service is shocking, and food took 45 minutes to an hour to come out, they were disinterested, yeah, I'd say something there.
Yes.
But I'd also go home and go, really poor service.
It's better you address it. You address it there. You tell them, this is. I didn't like that. That's you being.
Yep.
Being
but for something that's exceptional over, and gone really above and beyond, then I'd probably write about that as well. But if it's just what I expected, you don't tend to write about it.
Oh, okay.
And obviously, standards for people are so high, regardless of whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If they get someone to come around, do whatever job they're doing, whatever they want to do, whether it's lay a floor, fix the car, I expected them to do that on the service. They did it. That's fantastic. They stamped my book. They turned my service light off. They didn't leave dirty marks anywhere. It's what I expected. They'll give you a thank you on the door.
Thank you, yes.
They may message you a couple of days later going, thank you, really appreciate it. But then you have to push them to leave the review online.
Yes.
And sometimes they still won't do it. Because it's like, it's what I expect.
Yeah.
It's what everyone should expect. So it's harder. So I think word of mouth is the best recommendation.
It is. And it goes a long way.
Growing up in Cambridge, a lot of my customer base is there anyway.
Oh, okay.
I've lived in Stevenage. I moved to Stevenage in 2018, but I'd already been doing, before I set the business up, I'd already been doing work outside of work, if that made sense.
Yes.
Because I was full-time employed at a garage. I was already doing stuff after work, in the evenings, weekends. So I'd already had basically what become
like a part-time mobile van or
I used to do it all out my car at the time.
Oh, okay.
I only bought the van when I officially went, that's it, I'm done. I'm doing it for myself now. I can't do both. I can't work for someone else and look after the people that I've got, that I do. It's like I need to do one or the other. It happened at the right time as well.
Oh, okay. So one other thing is, what I would really like to know is, how did all of this begin?
What, like me first stepping into the motor trade? Or
yes, you first step into the motor trade from back in wherever you started.
So it started many years before I even stepped into the trade. I left school and went straight into the trade. It was something I always wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
So when I was about 6-7 years old, it kind of started. My granddad was into his stock car racing, into his banger racing. He used to be a mechanic for Volkswagen way back. He was part of the original Volkswagen Beetle launch in the UK.
Oh, okay.
When the split screen campers were in the UK. He's that era. He was a mechanic back then. Me being the first grandson, bear in mind he had 4 daughters and 1 son himself. His son is a twin with my mum. Was born deaf, so there was no chance of him becoming into the trade at that sense, because he couldn't hear anything. His sight was pretty bad. So me being the first grandson after 7 granddaughters, kind of the baton got passed. My dad's side, most of them went into the forces, whether they went police force. So my dad was police and traffic, so he still had a bit about cars because he, being traffic officer. Like all my uncles and that all went into sort of military, whether they went army, RAF, stuff like that. That I was the one for cars, and I'd always played around with stuff, always pulled stuff apart.
Did he always take you to the workshop with him?
He had a workshop at the bottom of his garden.
Oh, okay.
There's quite a funny story behind it. He had an old Ford Anglia that he used to drive every day until it packed up. He couldn't fix it, and it became his house for his chickens. So yeah, probably the only person in the world that had a Ford Anglia and converted it into a chicken coop. But it was still, he still took all the engine out of it. It was all in his garage. He used to sit there, tinker with it. I remember times when it used to go round when I was a kid, 8, 9 years old. You'd have some neighbour's car in the back garden because he just cut a hole in the hedge. You could do what you wanted. He lived in a village. And you'd sit there and to tune the engine. You know, we've got all these lovely fancy tools now to do this stuff.
But that wasn't the case back in the days.
Back then, and we're talking 1990. So you know, some of the tools were about. You know, there was stuff to do it, but he was old school, and he had an old metal door.
Oh, okay.
On the inside of his what he called his workshop, and it was an old spanner, and he used to bang it against the door, and the vibration and the noise from the door used to be the tone he used to set the engine to.
No way.
He used to do everything by ear. Everything was by ear, by sight, by feel. You know,
that's mental.
Yeah, he was proper old school, and I just kind of picked it up from there. Everything I kind of done was I'm doing it for him.
Yeah,
you know, and the motor trade just followed. I went to school.
So with the school you went to, primary school, then later on
secondary school, and they ask you at the time, you know, you get to sort of year 8, year 9,
okay,
what do you want to do? Because obviously you do work experiences, you work placements, and I was like, I want to be a mechanic. And in 1998, 97, 98, the motor industry was still frowned upon to an educational purposes. It was always classed as, well, you're not academically there. So, you know, you need to find a trade. Mechanics, builders, plumbers was always a case of, well, you're useless at school. You know, you don't turn up, you do this, you do that. Find a trade. Now, I was one of the intelligent ones at school, and I said, I want to be a mechanic. And the comment I got from my tutor and from the head teacher and from my head of year was, you're too intelligent to be a mechanic. And I was like, but it's what I want to do. And they're like, they went, but you have got so much potential. You could do anything you want, and you want to sit there,
fixing cars,
covered in oil, covered in crap, fixing cars. They went, that's a dropout job. And then word stuck with me, and I sat there and was like, I don't think it is. I enjoy doing stuff like that. That's what I want to do. Now, I left school with 13 GCSEs, grade A's.
That's
I
impressive.
had 5 A stars, 5 A's, 3 B's. You know, school was easy for me.
But you understand
why everything.
You understand why I had that conversation with you from those results I had,
And now looking back on it, the motor trade today is not a dropout.
No, it's
not an easy life.
No.
It is hard graft, regardless of whether you've got your own business or you're an apprentice and you're coming into the trade. It's not easy.
It's changing as well, rapidly changing.
It is changing daily.
Yes, it's changing, and it also needs the mental IQ to keep up.
Of course it does. I mean, if you, without taking it the wrong way, if you're not brilliant at reading and writing, you'll get through. But to understand the complexity of vehicles, especially reading wiring diagrams and things like that, you've got to have something about you.
Yes, you have to. You have to.
You could have any mental illness, you know, autism, ADHD, anything. You can do it, because if you're focused to do it, you'll do it. But it's no longer seen as that you're useless at school, you need to do something. That whole perception of the motor trade is long gone. Hopefully.
So you completed your apprenticeship with Peugeot.
Peugeot, yep.
Then spent 4 years.
Yeah, I was with Peugeot in total 6 years in one spell. So I done my apprenticeship, which I started a year early. I started my apprenticeship before I finished school.
Oh, okay.
Because where I was, there was a project. It was called the Wheels Motor Project. It was designed by Hertfordshire Constabulary and some of the schools. and it was purely designed to get kids off of the street, because where I was growing up, there was a lot of antisocial behaviour.
Oh, okay.
We had no youth clubs. There was nothing like that.
Where about was this?
This was Letchworth.
Okay.
Now, I wasn't part of any of that group. It was a case of I showed an interest in it. I wanted to do it. And because my dad worked for the police force, I kind of got a backdoor way in.
Oh, okay.
Most of the people that went had behavioural issues. But it was more a case of they had behavioural issues, but they had an interest in cars, or they had an interest in electronics, or, or motorbikes or something like that. So this was set up by the council and the police of, do you know what? If they've got an interest in something and they're not attending school, why don't we open up a project foundation that's charity run, where they can go, they can learn a trade, learn a craft, get them off the street, stops them causing trouble, makes our life easier. Well, I knew about it because, hey, you can play on cars at 14 years old.
Yeah.
It was effectively a college.
Oh, okay.
But it was run in an industrial site, in an industrial unit. It was open 3 days a week. They had teachers there. They had police officers there. It was one of them. So everything was kept nice and quiet and calm, and there was no, you're running around with tools that can cause damage to people, let alone to property and vehicles. So that was set up. Now, I knew about it because my dad attended, because he was part of the project setup, being part of traffic. I got in that way. So I started to do my NVQ level 1 and level 2 at 14 and 15 years old.
Okay.
So when I left school at 16 with all my GCSEs, thinking this is the greatest thing in the world, I landed an apprenticeship. To find an apprenticeship when you've already got level 2, which is your first year anyway, was quite hard going.
Why was that?
Because your apprenticeship program's normally 3 years.
Oh, okay.
So you do level 1 and 2, and then level 3 is a 2-year course. Well, I already had level 2 at 16. So I'm going around these garages going, look, I want a job, I want an apprenticeship, I'm already a level 2. And they're like, you're 16 years old, how have you got level 2?
Okay.
So I had to go through all this, and straight away, because the project that they'd done was so well known in Letchworth, it come with the same tarnished brush as it's a dropout thing.
Okay.
So they just went, oh, you got that at Will's Motor Project. It means you've got behavioural issues.
Yes.
You've got attendance issues, stuff like that, because that's what it was set
That's
for.
what the
And I was
project
like,
was for.
no, I'm not. Look, here's my school report. Here, we all left school with a book of achievements. No, mine was full.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I managed to get in at Peugeot. And they went, but we're going to put you on a 3-year apprenticeship. So I had to do effectively my level 1 again. And I sat there and went, okay, that's fine. If that's the only way in I've got, then that's the only way in I've got. Well, come the end of my second year, I'd qualified. I was level 3.
Okay.
I'd done.
But that wasn't the normal structure.
No. So the normal structure has always been 3 years.
So why did they make that change?
It changed because I think they took on apprentices every year at Peugeot dealership. And because I had that, already had the level 2, already had some skill level and knowledge, they knew they wouldn't have to put as much in to get the same benefit they would after 3 years. But also there was a place called Remit, which was the retail industry motor for training.
Yes.
I was part of them as well. So they kind of helped. They went, look, great guy. He's not going to let you down. He's going to turn up every day. He knows what he's doing. It's fine. So I think they kind of backed into it a little bit and went, do you know what? If we can get away with paying them level 1 money, because the government pay the apprenticeship anyway.
Okay.
So we can sign him on for a 3-year apprenticeship deal. If he finishes in 2 years, it's great because it's not cost us nothing. We've got fully qualified tech that's going to be 18 years old that is still tied to us for another year because he's had to sign the 3-year apprenticeship program.
All right.
So, which is how they sort of
the third year, what were you doing for the third year then?
I was on my own the third year. I was literally
unsupervised?
Yeah, unsupervised.
Okay.
Because I was fully qualified. So I started in Peugeot in 2000, October of 2000, as the apprentice. By the October of 2001, I had my own ramp.
Okay.
I was still supervised because I still had my supervisor. He was on a ramp next to me.
Yes.
But I had my own ramp. So I was doing servicing on my own. I was doing clutches on my own. I was doing cam belts on my own. I was doing brake, pretty much everything I was doing on my own. The only stuff I couldn't do was warranty.
Oh, okay.
I was doing it, but my supervisor was signing for it.
Okay.
And doing the final sign off. My work was still being checked, but it wasn't a case of they were constantly over my shoulder.
All right.
Yeah, because I was on the ramp next to him, they could look over and go, I have to do that.
He's doing okay.
Yes.
Because I guess once you've proven over time, with good quality of work, they trust you and they can leave you alone, knowing that
precisely that
the work you deliver is going to be top class. Yes.
Yeah, which and then so when I started my effectively what would have been my third year apprenticeship, 2002, they give me an apprentice.
Really?
Yeah. So I was training an apprentice at 18 years old. I got given an apprentice.
So after that you spent 4 years with.
I spent 4 years with Peugeot. Went up to Master Tech.
Master Tech?
Yeah, I was the youngest Master Tech they had.
That's interesting.
I was one of the youngest that was put on the course as well for Master Tech. They put me on the Master Tech course at 20.
How long was the Master Tech course for?
It was constant. It was ongoing. Constant training courses.
Oh, okay.
So you had to, once I'd done, I think it was about 30 hours of their training, you could then class yourself as a Master Tech, but you had to constantly do courses. It was
okay.
As soon as a new project got launched or a new product got launched, you were on the training course for it. So the dealership I was at was quite funny because in a way, they would only send the Master Tech on the courses. And then the Master Tech had to bring the course information back and tell the rest of the guys.
Okay.
When I left that Peugeot dealership and went to another one, it was different. Everyone went on the courses.
So you left and went to Renault from there? Or
so I left. So the Peugeot dealership I was at, I stayed there till 2005. They changed after sales manager and service manager. We clashed quite heavily because obviously I had my way of doing things. All the techs had their way of doing things. Our product was good. The service rate was good. Mm-hmm. The first time fix was good. You'd expect it from a main dealer charging probably £150 an hour at the time. New service manager and general manager come in because they were looking at cost cutting because the business is obviously coming up against some financial difficulties. Wanted to change too many aspects. In the space of 5 months, out of the 12 technicians they had, 11 of us left.
Wow.
In 5 months. So I then went to another Peugeot dealership, which was in Stevenage. I was there for a year before they disappeared. Literally woke up in the morning, they'd gone.
When you say disappear, what do you mean disappeared?
The company went into liquidation. The whole business, they had all the Peugeot dealers. I think Peugeot pulled the franchise from them.
Oh, okay.
Because they wasn't selling enough new cars, or because the biggest competition they had in Stevenage was the Letchworth site.
All right.
Because one was branded as one was branded as something else. Now, where they'd done the cost cutting at the other Peugeot dealership, which also had a couple of other dealerships attached with it, they'd spent loads of money on the marketing department and redone the outside of the building, everything. Started to push through the new cars. The Stevenage Peugeot dealer got left behind because the biggest competition they had was from 2 towns down that have now just gone massive overnight. So they wasn't meeting the sales target. So Peugeot pulled the franchise. So literally overnight, because they pulled it, we could no longer do warranty work.
Oh, okay. So what happened to you guys then?
We all got moved around, which is why I ended up at Renault.
Oh, okay. Stayed there for 3 years?
Yeah, stayed at Renault for 3 years.
How was it down there?
I didn't like it. It wasn't so much the car or the product. It was the complete change.
From Peugeot
to Renault. I knew Peugeot's inside out. A car would come up, the job card would come through. It's got this fault.
You know what?
I know what that is. I can stick the computer on it, can run the diagnostics. I know what to test. I'm pretty sure I know what that problem is anyway. I can fix it.
Yes.
To now I'm going to Renault. Okay. They haven't got a key. They're all cards at this point.
All right.
80% of the cars are coming through all key card. And I was like,
where's the key?
This is alien to me. 22 years old, and all I'd known all my whole life was Peugeots getting in. Some of them had a start code that you had to put in, key in ignition, turn it on, drive start. Get into a Renault, you've now got a card and a start button. And you didn't even have to press unlock on half of them. You put your hand in the handle and opened. They were quite early for keyless entry and keyless start and things. It was alien to me. I hated it for about 6 months. I absolutely hated it because I couldn't grasp it. Everything was different.
Mhm.
The wiring diagrams were different. The layout of the diagnostics machines was different. It was too big a change. I was so used to that and really comfortable. I think that was the word I want to use, comfortable. It changed and I was like, I don't like it. But I stuck at it. I've done 3 years.
So how did you cope for 3 years then?
I kind of got used to it.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously it was the same company I was working for.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew a lot of the guys there. So it kind of made life easier. We were at Stevenage, there was 6 of us at Stevenage as techs. 3 of us went over to the same Renault dealership.
Okay.
So it was kind of easy in that sense. I knew a couple of guys there because we'd worked together.
We still had that team spirit.
Yeah, we kind of all got used to it at the same time. I was one of the youngest, I think I was the youngest technician that went over. So, they've had experience of working on other stuff because obviously they were doing used car checks. So it would be everything that was going through on used. I never touched any of that stuff. All mine was your Peugeot. At that point, you could cut me in half. I'd be like a stick of rock. I had Peugeot written for the middle of me at that point in my life.
But with those new changes, how much level of support did you get from your team to get you up to speed?
Quite a bit, to be fair. They were a good bunch. I wouldn't knock any of them.
Okay.
Everyone has their downsides. Some of them you would walk in and go, I ain't even going to say hello to you. You're moody. I know that already. I work with you. You walk in on a Monday morning and you get, it's like,
Monday.
Morning. And then 4:30 on a Friday, they're packing their tools away, they're dancing around the workshop, and they're like, 5 o'clock, let's go home.
That's it.
And you're like, you're literally just here for the 9 to 5, aren't you? And that's how some of them were. But, we all got on. We all were a good bunch. We used to go out after work on a Friday. If we weren't working the Saturdays, it was kind of weird. We'd done every other Saturdays when we were there.
Okay.
You were one group or the other. So the ones that weren't working on a Saturday would go out and have a meal afterwards or a couple of pints down the pub. And if you're on the other lot, they'd done it the following week. But we did kind of all mix at some point. So Fridays, we all used to go down to town to have lunch. We'd disappear downtown. Service managers used to come with us.
That's good.
And it would be like, you've got an hour for lunch. It's Friday. Last Friday of the month is pay weekend.
I know.
We'd push it. It'd become an hour and a half. And because the service manager was with us, we'd get away with it. Because the general manager was never in on a Friday. So we used to get away with it. But yeah, it changed.
Great. But one would think, all right, you left from Peugeot.
Yep.
And you went to Renault where there was that change.
Yep.
All right. You decided for another change again. You now went where Volkswagen and
I went to Volkswagen Audi.
And Audi. For 4 years.
Yes.
How was that change?
That was what I wanted. I wanted that change at that point.
Is it for the brand you were going for?
No. So a couple of the guys that I was doing my apprenticeship with when I was at college worked for Volkswagen.
Okay.
And worked for Audi. And obviously I was still in touch with them. Kind of keep in touch with people. It's like old school friends,
Yeah.
And they were telling me about the training stuff that they do and what goes on behind the scenes and stuff. They were like, look, I was at Renault at this point. Training courses once every 6 to 8 months. There was a training course. It was like, okay, you do this. And they would send like a couple of guys on it. But then the next training course would come out, which would be like a month later because it'd be for something different. You wasn't the one going on it. It was someone else going on it. Volkswagen Audi was great. It was like, we're launching this new product. You need to attend a training course. And they would hold the training course long enough to make sure that at least 70% of the workshop went on it. So it was all the stuff that they were doing behind the scenes. And I was like, do you know what?
That's what you want to do.
Volkswagen Audi is a fantastic company. Their cars don't go, my opinion, their cars don't go wrong at this point. They're so reliable. I'm so used to working on what I put it then as French rubbish because yes, the engines were solid, but the electrics were poor.
Okay.
Well, Volkswagens don't go wrong. Never see Volkswagens broken down anywhere. But it's because I was quite blinkered, I think. Because I worked for Peugeot, I worked for Renault. It was everything that was wrong. That's Peugeot. Oh, typical, no surprises. I worked for them. We were pushing them in every day. So I made the jump. I was like, I want to go and do it. So I did.
How was it there?
I loved it. I loved every minute of being at Volkswagen.
That's good.
It was like starting my apprenticeship again because everything I knew kind of meant nothing, but still meant everything because the basic principles were exactly the same.
Yes.
But it was like learning something all over again.
The culture as well.
It was
different.
a constant need for education at that point. It was like, I need to learn. I need to know more about this. I need to know this. I need to know this. It was great. I loved it. I loved going in there And my perception of Volkswagen Audi being a brand that never goes wrong was changed within my first week.
What changed?
So my first job at Volkswagen, well, it was Volkswagen Audi, it was dual branded dealership, but the same company. I walked in after I got the job and I went, like, where's my ramp? And they went, it's that one over there. I went, there's 4 pallets on that ramp. They were like, yeah, so we'll get them moved. So they moved all the pallets. They went, right, there's your first job. In the case. Volkswagen Touareg V10 starter motor. That was my first job. 46 hours book time. That was me for a week.
Really?
Yep. And it was a warranty job. Yeah, you have to take the whole engine out to do it.
That's
V10 twin turbo. It was a horrible job.
Oh.
But I loved it. I absolutely loved every minute of it. Stuck right in. And I think they'd had that car sat around for a while because I think everyone was avoiding it because they knew it was one of them jobs. But I loved it. And then literally his job straight after that was an Audi A8 timing chain. Again, engine out, gearbox off, all at the back of the engine.
I think so
my perception of they don't go wrong was completely changed within that first sort of month.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They don't go wrong with little problems. They're big problems.
Big problems, yes.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
That's really good. Then later on, 2016, you moved to Roston.
Yeah, moved to Royston. I moved house. That was the thing.
Okay.
I moved house, so the commute was an hour 40 to where I was at Audi.
Oh, okay.
It was an hour 40. So we moved house, and just went. The commute was getting to me. Yes, I had a car that I could use. You know, I got given that by Volkswagen. They were like, there's a car you can use every day to go to and from work. When I moved, it was like, got to be at work for 8, finish at 6, leaving the house at 6, getting home at 8, 9 o'clock.
Oh,
and it was like, I felt physically drained at that point. So I went to work for a small independent family business.
Oh, okay. How was it there?
Different, very, very different. Basically, everything I learned and everything I knew in the main dealer industry was completely different when I went to small independent. Everything was different.
Because a family-run business is run differently compared to the independent garages. Yes, yeah. Culture is different. Yeah. They are more. It's a family.
It's more tight knit.
Yeah. Which
you know everything. You do everything with each other.
Yes.
The level of service was completely different. So, standing example, most servicing for dealership, you don't even take the wheels off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was literally, it would come in for, let's just say, first service, check your lights, top your levels up, change your oil filter, done, kick it out the door. Then the valet comes, picks it up, gives it a quick wash, gives it a quick hoover, parked up, there you go, mate, car's all done.
Right.
Second service, pretty much the same, but we'll change an air filter and we'll have a look through the wheels at your brakes. Go to a family garage. It's a small service. Yeah, no worries. Exactly what happened to me. Small service. Yeah, no problem. Pulled it in. Peugeot. Oh, great, like this.
You know. Yeah.
Small service. Yeah, no worries. Pulled it in. Put it on the ramp. Checked lights. Done levels. Changed oil filter. Quick look through at the brakes. Dropped it down. And then got, what are you doing? I was like, it's done. He went, you haven't taken the wheels off. Don't take the wheels off on service, mate. Not a small service. I looked through them. They're fine. Take the wheels off. Okay. Because there are wheels off every service.
Okay.
Whole different thing. I think when you go to a dealer, as a customer's point of view, you go to the main dealer, your expectation level is quite high.
Yes, you expect that, yes. Not the case.
It's not the case. The main dealers, the wheels come off on a service if the service schedule says so.
Okay.
3rd service, 6th service, and so on. It's like every 3rd service. Whereas the independents, every service wheels off.
That's quite good then.
Yeah. The independent, I would say the independent way of doing things is a higher level than the dealership. And I think that's purely because the independent side rely on the repeat business, rely on the reviews, rely on the excellent, well done, word of mouth. Dealership, well, I tie you into a service plan. You're tied into warranty if your car's under 3 years old. So a lot of customers' people is, well, I bought a brand new car, I have to take it to the dealer to be serviced. You don't, but that's a whole different category.
With the independent garages, you have a more. The relationship between your customer is different from.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah, because you have that one-on-one. You can actually talk with them.
Yeah, so at the dealership, your relationship with the customer is, Mr. Smith, there's your car, it's all done. See you later.
Yes.
You're a number
Yes.
to a dealership. You know, you're one of 10,000, as an example. Independent, that Mr. Smith bit goes after your first visit and you become on first name terms. So it'd be like, there you go, Gary, your car's all done for you. How you been? How's the wife? How's the kids?
Yes.
How's the day? Anything new? And it becomes more of a friendship relationship.
You can ask questions like, did you notice anything different with the car? When do you think I can do this?
Exactly.
Ask some technical advice.
Normally, the person you're speaking to, normally, not going to say it's a case of every independent, because I know there's some big independent garages out there that have service advisors and things, but the smaller ones, 9 times out of 10, the person you're speaking to is also the one that's doing your car.
Yes, okay.
Or is very close to one that's doing your car. You know, you might have one service advisor, 4 technicians.
Yes.
So it's easy to relay.
Oh, okay.
You know, so you get on that first name term, you kind of go, you know, you tend to ask more questions because most of the people are on front of house in the independent side of it have some technical background.
Oh, okay.
Whether they've developed it over the course of working for an independent or whether they've come out of the workshop and gone onto it, or they've had a different role within the industry. Yes. You know, they kind of have some technical bit. So when was it doing that problem? When does it repeat? Yes. You know, how often is it doing it? Dealership, you get, oh, my car's making a funny noise. Yeah, no problem. What noise is it making? Oh, it's a rattling noise. Okay. That's all booked for you. See you in 3 weeks. You get out on a job card, you're like, hold on a minute. I need some more information. As a tech, I need some more information.
Yes.
So then they go,
where was the noise?
You have to ring the customer up yourself. Independent side, because they've got that bit of background, they've already asked them questions. So when you got the paperwork come through, it makes a rattling noise over bumps, about 20 mile an hour, certain roads. If I've got more than 3 people in the car, it doesn't do it.
Oh, okay.
You get a bit more sort of information in it. So then you can sit there and go, do you know what? I don't need to speak to the customer. I've got everything I need.
Yes, you have a clue what.
You know, you're in the right direction. So yeah, I think the independent side of it is a lot better.
Okay.
For understanding, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense. Makes sense. Later on, you did some teaching and assessing. You became a teacher and an assessor for motor trade.
Yeah, it was a part-time thing. So I was approached by a company which is still going. I still talk to them on a regular basis to become a MOT trainer and assessor.
Okay.
So those that have got the necessary experience and the skill and wanting to become an MOT tester, you have to go on an MOT testing course.
Yes.
I was a qualified MOT tester. They approached me and went, would I be interested in doing it? Okay. Yeah, I'll give it a go. That was my answer. Yeah, I'll give it a go. What have I got to do? So went to the IMI, sat a course, done an exam, become an IMI accredited assessment assessor for MOT. I was like, I can do this. You know, I love the job. I love talking about the job. I can teach people this. This is easy stuff. And MOT, in fairness, is an easy job. It comes with a lot of stress and a lot of background to it, but you know, it's an easy job. I can do this. So I started to teach it. And it was more a case of I had it as a fallback because I'd only just opened my business at the same time.
Oh, okay.
It was more of a fallback of, well, if my business fails,
you have that to jump on. I
have that as a fallback, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And it was also a case of, can I see myself fixing cars forever? Actually, I can put it down there because otherwise it's going to vibrate all day. It was more a case of, I've got something to fall back on. So if my body decides to give up, because motor trade is heavy going.
It is, yes.
You know, you get bad back, you get bad knees, you get bad hands. So I looked at it as, hey, when I get to 45 and my body's completely given up on me, my back's gone, my knees are gone, my hips give me grief, I can teach. I can still stay in the trade. I can still pass on knowledge. I can still help people. I can sit back and go, okay, and still get stuff out of it and still put stuff into it. So I took that up.
Nice. Yeah,
so it was something different.
So do you still do that again?
I haven't done any for the past year. I can still do it. The company that does it, they still do it. I can still teach it. I do have to sit my refresher to do it again because your assessor license is only 3 years.
Okay.
I can still teach it.
But not assess.
but I can't do the assessment side of it. So I can still do it. It's just to do the assessment, to do the final assessment, I've got to do the course again. Or not again, I've just got to do the assessment paper.
All right, that's decent. So tell me about how you started Mouth Moto Company Limited. What was the inspiration behind it?
So what it was, is I was working at an independent at the time, and obviously I knew effectively two big brands, PSA Group and VAG, really, really well. I picked up a little bit of Vauxhall, working in independent, a little bit of some of the others, and was like, and seeing the stuff that the independent wasn't doing.
Okay.
So where I was used to going all in on a wiring problem, stripping cars apart, finding the fault, or doing a heater matrix where you have to take the dashboard out and doors off and everything like that. I kind of went, I don't want to do servicing all day long.
Okay.
Because the independent side of it at that point was quite fast paced to a degree. Why tie a guy up on a ramp for 8 hours doing a clutch job that they're going to earn, say, 300 quid out of?
Yeah.
When them 8 hours he could do 4 services.
Yes.
And I could earn £600-700 out of it. So there's a higher profit margin. I kind of miss doing that stuff.
Or the changing the clutch.
Yeah, I kind of miss doing the big stuff, because I looked at it as when, if all I'm doing is servicing and tyres and pads and discs and springs and shock absorbers.
No.
I've gone back to being my apprenticeship again. This is like my final year of my apprenticeship. I was doing this stuff. So I'm kind of bored. I want to do a head gasket. I want to, I want to rebuild an engine. I want to do a heater matrix.
You want your head to be ticking each time you're
I want to do the more in-depth diagnostics. Theirs was plug a code in, it comes up with a fault, check it. If that's definitely the fault, fix it. If not, it's too far, it's too in-depth for us. We'll pass it to someone that's a specialist on it. We'll give that to an auto electrician. We'll give that to the diagnostic. Give that to the diagnostic garage around the corner. And the diagnostic garage around the corner, they wouldn't do a service. They wouldn't do a head gasket. They would go, there's your problem. That's what you need to do. Go get it fixed. There's specialists in areas, and a lot of garages use a specialist to find something. I was just like, I want to do this for me. So literally, I think I just woke up in the morning and went, well, I've got enough customers that I do in the evenings and at weekends and stuff. It's like, I could probably do this as a job.
Okay.
So I literally just woke up in the morning and went, do you know what? I'm going to do it. And I did. I literally walked in that morning, done the day's work, spoke to the guy at the end of the day who owned the garage, and went, got something to tell you. And I was like, what's that? I was like, I'm thinking of leaving and going out on my own. It kind of went a little bit mad for 10 minutes.
It does, yeah.
Because he kind of went, well, you're not taking any of my customers. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. And I'm like, listen, I said, I don't want your customers. I said, I'm not here to poach any work from you. I said, I've got my own customers, which I do. I was like, but I'm going to go and do it for me.
But within that time, was he aware that you were doing this?
Yeah, he knew I was doing it. Yeah, because I used to take cars in to do an MOT on them.
All right, in the workshop.
Yeah. Okay. But I never used to MOT my own customers' cars, because it was more a case of, there's no rule against it. It's like MOTing your own car. There's no rule against it. You can't, it's just, you're not supposed to do it. So, I'd have my next door neighbour's car, for example, and he'd go, I need to service MOT. Yeah, no, I'll do the service. I'll take it to work. And one of the other guys I worked with, I went, can you MOT that one for me?
Oh, okay.
And they're like, well, why aren't you doing it? I was like, it looks a bit dodgy. The guy lives next door to me.
Yes.
It's like, I might have missed something, or, it was more a case of, because my dad was a traffic officer, it was more a case of, okay, well, the guy next door MOT'd your car. Is it actually safe? Did you actually get it done properly, kind of thing? So it was always a case of, do that one for me.
It's better that way.
Yeah, I just found it worked for me. It was more a case of, do you know what? If anything was to happen, it wasn't a case of, I could pass the blame. It was more a case of, do you know what? I know I was all right doing it.
Okay.
So it was always a case of, anything I took in was, I'd book it in properly, and one of the others would do it. But then I used to do it the same for them. When they used to take a car in, they would get me to MOT it, or get someone else to MOT it. We never used to MOT our own stuff. But yeah, he knew that. I used to take cars in all the time, like on a Saturday afternoon. He used to sit there and go, well, if you've got anything you need to do, do it. And I'd go in on a Saturday afternoon, I'd do cam belts.
Oh, okay.
I'd do a clutch, because I couldn't do them during work days. And if I rang him and said, look, I need to put a clutch in mate's car, can I book it in? I can't have you tied up on the ramp all day.
Oh, okay.
Even though he'd be paying me, and my customer would pay him for the job, it would be, it's not a job we want to do.
Oh, okay.
Because it was too labour intensive, and it would cost too much money as a business in his eyes to have me tied up on a job all day. for me to be tied up on a head gasket, day's work. Once you've paid everything out, he'd probably lose about £400 based on the fact that I would have got
on time,
4 or 5 services done.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Okay.
So I just went, I need to do it for me, and literally, just done it.
That was it.
Give him 2 weeks' notice, and my last day, he goes, I'm going to miss you. He goes, all the best. And I was like, well, I'm sure we'll cross paths. we do. Every now and again we cross paths.
Do you visit the garage? Do you visit the garage from time to time?
Do I see the garage?
Yes. Are they still running?
Yeah, still going. Yeah, still going. Same guy's still in there.
Okay.
Same guy owns it. Same guy behind the desk that does the front of the house, and 2 of the technicians are still the same. Yeah.
So Jason, 2 mobile vans. So how are you using those vans to?
It started off as 1, just me, and I bought a little Astra van. No, nothing special, nothing spectacular. Literally loaded it up with the tools and just went for it. After about 6 months, it became bright purple. Purple's always been a colour that's drawn. Going back to my granddad, basically, when he used to do the racing. Cars were purple. So it was kind of sort of an in-memory kind of thing. So it got painted bright purple. So it was kind of a full advertisement on wheels. How many purple cars do you see?
Yeah.
When I'm saying purple, I mean it was this purple.
The entire car.
Yeah, the whole thing's purple. There's pictures of it on my Facebook. You go back on my Instagram. There's pictures on there as well. And still got it. Still have the van to this day. It's still sat there. Nice.
Yeah. So you mentioned the workshop.
Yes, the workshop is fairly new. It's a new thing. It's more to do with mobile van's great. Don't get me wrong. I love the convenience of mobile. I like being out on the road. I like going to do different places now. It's great. But because the job's getting more and more technical, and obviously with hybrid and EV stuff coming around,
yes,
doing some repairs on some vehicles is quite difficult in some people's driveways, especially with the weather. Taking a cylinder head off a car, the last thing you want is the heavens opening and it filling everything up with water. You're just fighting a battle, or chasing wiring for faults, and you've got wires coming out everywhere. Or
where do you keep them?
Well, you're doing a Ford where you've got to do a heater matrix. You've got to take the doors off the car, and you've got all the rain pouring in. It was more of a business choice to get a workshop.
That allows you, if you pick up some of these mobile jobs, you could.
So I've got a guy that does recovery for me.
Okay.
So he'll do recoveries, he'll do collection and deliveries as well. So he picks cars up, brings them to the workshop. We can do them there. The idea is kind of a little bit more long term. It'll happen by the end of the year. Will be 2 or 3 technicians in the workshop full time, mobile van full time, and obviously the recovery driver. He works for himself anyway as recovery. I wouldn't take him on as full time because obviously we can't guarantee that work.
Yes.
He would be more like he is now. I could ring him up and go, here, can you come pick car up for us? And he'll be like, yeah, no, let's do it in a couple of hours. That's the plan. So we'd have the van out.
Okay.
All day, every day. We'd have the workshop again all day, every day, or 5 days a week and 6 days a week.
So with your experience over the years, are you looking to have apprentices coming as well?
Yes. When the workshop goes fully live and is self-sustainable, where it can be open 6 days a week or 5.5 days a week. Haven't quite worked out which we're doing with it yet. Currently, it's about 2 days of the workshop, because obviously it's me.
Yes.
Currently, workshop's 2 days a week, mobile's 4 days. When it gets to the stage of workshop can be 5.5 days a week, we would look at taking the apprenticeship on and just repeat the process.
That's decent. Now I have a question. So with the apprenticeship now and what you did back in the days, is there a difference? What has changed?
What's changed, I think, is the amount of people coming into the trade. I think that's changed.
Going up or down?
Going down. I think there's nowhere near as many people coming into trade as there used to be.
Why do you think that's happening?
I think it's purely based on expenses, maybe, or cost of living. Because the apprenticeship is government funded. That they set the wage for the apprenticeship program. and the motor trade is an expensive trade to get into. It's like if you could pick any trade in the world, the motor trade is the most expensive, I would say, to get into.
Oh, okay.
Because of what you've got to put in. You know, all you're buying all your own tools. There's your big expense. You know, become a builder. You could probably get away with a cantilever toolbox.
Yes.
And everything's in it. Same as an electrician, same as a plumber. Yeah, there's probably some specialist stuff they need. Don't get me wrong, I don't know their trades that well. So, but you know, come to a mechanic, you need a toolbox that's got 50 drawers full of different stuff, and it's a never-ending buying.
It never ends. Yes.
Because a manufacturer will go, oh, I know what I'll do. Instead of using a Phillips screw, I'll use a torque screw. This was the thing back in the 2000s, right? And then they went, from going from torque screws, we'll go to multi-spline. So now they go multi-spline, and then they've gone, oh, actually,
what if we make ours?
Let's just do something completely different. Let's put a hole through the middle of them instead now. So now you've got to buy tamper-proof ones.
Yes.
And then, so you've gone from having your basic screwdriver set, which my granddad had. Everything was a Phillips screw.
Yeah.
And 10 mil, 13 mil, or 5/8 and, 7/16 and that kind of stuff is now, well, we'll make this one 7 mil. We'll make this one 8 mil. Oh, I know what we'll do. We'll put this one as a 5.13 mil. And you're like, well, hold on a minute. Since when have we started doing bolts in 5 point? Everything's 6.
I know.
Or 12 or 18, and now it's like, yeah, well, I think they just make stuff up for the fun of it. A lot of it.
I agree with you on that, because I've had some times where I'm doing a job, I find myself chasing after tools which Eurocapas doesn't have it. I go to other suppliers, they don't have it, and
there's a lot of specialist tools out there now.
Yeah.
I think as an apprentice coming in, you're still going to need to buy your basic toolkit. You're still going to need to buy your spanner set, your socket set of hammers, plier set, and you'd get by for a couple of years. And then as your sort of needs develop, or I say as your needs develop, as your skill develops and you start to get a little bit more into the complex stuff, you need to start buying more of the specialist stuff. I mean, it was the same for me when I was an apprentice. I started out and there was an unwritten rule when I was at Peugeot. The first year apprentice, you got away with it. We don't expect you to buy tools first year apprentice. I mean, I was on £80 a week as an apprentice.
£80 a week.
£80 a week was my apprenticeship wage. I know times have changed. It's not that cheap now, though it probably feels like it. By the time you get to your second year, they expect you to start buying tools.
Okay.
So whether you just went out and went, I ain't going to knock the Halfords brand. They come with lifetime warranty. Mm-hmm. And they're a third of the price of the Snap-on ones. Snap-on man comes around, great, big shiny truck full of tools, love it, walk on. I'll have that set of spanners, please. Yes, £1,000. Yeah, I'm now getting off.
Yeah, I see what I mean.
As an apprentice, you sit there, I want them. Everyone's got Snap-on in the workshop. It's great. I want to be part of the guys. Yeah, we do it on pay weekly as well, mate. So you can have it as £1,000 set of spanners. You can have that. You can do it as £10 a week for 100 weeks, and you're like, I could do £10 a week. That's all right.
Spend your whole time.
And you're like, now I'm spending my week's wages to do my job. So what am I actually getting paid? You're not. You're buying tools constantly. I think as business owners and garage owners is where the expense comes in. Is you've got to buy the diagnostic kit. You've got to get diagnostics up to date. You need to buy the specialist tools to do timing jobs. You get timing belts now. Before you used to be able to get away with a bit of Tipex here, a bit of Tipex there, maybe a couple of 30 mil bolts in a couple of holes. Fine, done. Now you've got floating cams, floating cranks, wet belts. Everything needs to be timed up. You can't even get it a tiny little bit out. Tension, everything. It's changed. It's completely changed. The whole trade is massively different now. In 22 years I've been doing it, or 24 years properly, it's changed dramatically, and it's so fast paced.
But your rewards of 22 years are paying off, because last year you got nominated.
Yeah, last year we were nominated for the IGA.
Consumer's Choice.
Yeah, the IGA Consumer Choice Award. Yeah, we're final 5.
Final 5. So what's that impact that you have in the community, that, or your customers, that would prompt them to?
It was fantastic, that guy, because the Consumer Choice Award is customer-based nomination only.
Okay.
So you can't nominate yourself for it. So when that come through of, by the way, you're on the final 5 for the Consumer Choice Award, I was like, how many customers have put me forward for that? And I was like, okay, that's fine, and didn't really think nothing of it, but sort of put it on the bottom of our invoices.
Okay.
To vote for us, please follow this link, click on the link, fill out what they ask you to fill out. Same way of gaining reviews, I suppose. Yes. And And then we get a phone call from them about 2 months before, and went, "Oh, by the way, you're on the shortlist." Okay, how many's on the shortlist? Oh, you're down to 20.
Okay.
How many garages were in it to start with? Just shy of 2,000. It's like, wow.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So to go down to the final 20, I was happy with that, you know. And then a couple of weeks later, "Oh, you've made the final 5. Are you interested in coming to the awards night?" I was like, "I'm up for that," you know. So yeah, turned up to the awards night, met some fantastic people, some fantastic garages, some garages that I'd aspire to be. You know, there's some big, fantastic garages on there that are huge. It was more of a chance to sort of I took it as a chance to network, to meet and greet, and you know, put my name and face to what people have heard.
Yes. So how did you feel? Like, what was that feeling, knowing that you are?
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah, no, it was absolutely amazing. You know, I loved every minute of it. I felt like a very small fish in a big pond when I went there, because lots of these other garages and people that were there were, you know, been there numerous times, nominated for numerous years, won numerous awards. I was kind of the new kid on the block, the new face. But yeah, it was a great experience.
That's decent. Yeah, that's decent. Imagine being from 2000.
Hello. You're going to come and say hello on the camera?
Hi.
Hello.
So this is Leighton. This is the youngest.
What's
He is
his name?
Leighton.
Leighton.
How
are you?
I'm 10.
No, you're not 10. You are 3. But you are the future of the business, aren't you?
Yeah.
How was school?
Good.
Nice.
I got you. Michael.
Yeah. Okay, right. You're going to go and have your lunch.
Is it 3?
3. Nearly 4. He's 4 in like 3 months. So
The future of the business.
yeah, he is the future. He loves it. Absolutely loves it. If I'm outside working, like, because I've got customers in the street, if I'm outside working, he wants to be out there. He wants to help.
Yeah, I've seen some.
Yeah,
images
he
of
comes out in the
you
van
and him.
every now and again. Yeah, if I've got a nice local job, that's a nice easy one, you know, like a diagnostic job, or you know, one of the regular customers, yeah, he'll jump in with me. He'll come.
That's good. And that's nice, because that's how you actually instill that zeal and that inspiration for them to pick up something that they could.
Yeah, so he wants to. It's not forced on him. He loves anything like that.
But you have to expose them to things like that.
Yeah.
Because it might not just be repairing this. He might become a car manufacturer someday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
never know.
There's endless levels to what he can achieve.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell me about the charity.
What, Ben? For me boxing event.
Yes.
So yeah, I used to do quite a bit of boxing, mixed martial arts, football. I still play football, like quite regular football Thursdays and Sundays. Charity boxing event, kind of something I thought about for a few years. And obviously Ben being the motor trade charity for people in the trade, or have left the trade. Fantastic charity. They do fantastic things for so many people. About 10-ish years ago, I'd done a skydive for Ben as well.
Okay.
That was quite a huge success. I kind of got talked into doing a boxing match. It's done under white collar.
Okay.
Training started.
Okay.
It's different.
Do you know your opponent?
No, not yet. I find out my opponent about 3 weeks before the fight.
Interesting. What if it's AJ?
Pardon?
What if it's AJ?
I would love it to be. I don't think it'd step down to white collar. Yeah, so I used to do quite a lot of it, going back like to my youth, pretty much. And it's something I spoke about. I was like, I'd love to get back in the ring, just sort of one last time, more for fitness, more for, you know, again, kind of going outside my comfort zone. I've got to 40, and well, so I retired from playing football when I was like 34. Pretty much when I set up my own business, to be fair, I was like, I can't afford to be injured now. You know, if I get injured at football and I'm off work, I can't really afford this. You know, different. When I worked for people, it was like, I've hurt my leg today, boss. I can't come in. What do you do? I'm playing football Sunday, and you know, kind of pulled a muscle. Like, right, no worries. We can cover you. And I started working for myself, and it's like, I can't do this. So I retired from football, and pretty much retired from stuff like that, but carried on doing stuff I enjoyed anyway. Okay. And then this time January last year, I went back to football for veterans and Man vs. Fat. Play for Stevenage United.
Okay.
We're actually doing quite well this season. Quite happy with the lads. And then kind of boxing was kind of approached by one of my customers that who I've known for 25 years.
Okay.
Who's now a customer. Wasn't at the time,
Mhm.
just known him and become a customer. And he went, "Oh, you should go back to boxing." I was like, I'm a bit old for that now, so I don't fancy getting punched in the face. And he was like, "Well, why don't you look at it? Why don't you do white collar? Why don't you do it for a charity event?" And I was like, "Do you know what? I'll do it." So I signed up, and they said, "What charity do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, it's easy." I said, "I work in the motor trade." I said, "It's got to be the biggest motor trade charity there is." I said, "It's going to be Ben."
Oh, okay.
So I set up my fundraiser and started training. Had all my boxing gear delivered yesterday.
Okay. So the Ben, how they go about the charity? Who do they support?
So Ben is specifically designed for the motor trade. It's a charity for motor trade for people in it or have just left it. Cover various, pretty much anything that you would need a charity for. If it's money issues, health issues, stress, anxiety, financial, anything, they're there.
Correct.
They're people to talk to.
Okay.
They are fantastic. I've never used them myself, but I know some of the work they do. Some of the stuff they do behind the scenes. They're a fantastic charity.
So how could people support you?
They can go onto my fundraiser. It's on Just Giving.
Okay.
Just look up my name on there. They find me on Instagram. There's links posted on my Instagram.
Okay.
There's links on my Facebook. If they go under the ultra white collar boxing, look up Stevenage era. I'm listed on there as well. And just sponsor it. Even if you don't want to sponsor, just come and have a laugh. Tickets go on sale on the 31st. Come and have a laugh. Come and have a giggle. And it's
in Stevenage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's quite strange because most of these white collar events are normally held somewhere like in a travel lodge or something like that.
Oh, okay.
We've actually got the Gordon Craig Theatre, so it's a big indoor arena. So it's not going to be a little event. There's somewhere in the region of about 4,000 tickets available. Something like that.
Tickets.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Are you ready for this, Jason?
I think when we start sparring in a couple of weeks, if I wasn't ready by then, I don't think I'd ever be ready, to be fair. It's something different. But yeah. But
okay.
The sponsorship side, if anyone wants to sponsor, it'd be fantastic.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to I'll drop the link.
Yeah, I can send you the
podcast
link.
And all that stuff.
Yeah, I'll send you the link over.
So that anyone that wants to support the cause can easily have access to.
Yeah. The event's on the 29th of March. The last Saturday in March is the actual date that the fight goes ahead.
Okay.
Sponsorship's open right until that point. So
All right. Nice. So, Jason, before we end, 2 last questions.
Yep.
So, what advice will you give anyone that wants to become a mobile mechanic?
Be prepared to get wet. Don't be afraid of laying down in the road, and just do it. If you want to, have more, I would say more enjoyment. You obviously enjoy the job because you've been doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I would say make the jump. In all honesty, I would go for it.
Is it worth it?
I would say so.
Okay.
There's this whole thing about being your own boss, picking your own hours, choosing your days and times. Ignore it. It's all a load of lies. It's hard work. It's not 9 to 5. It never stops.
Yes.
The whole thing of be your own boss, you get to choose what you do.
No.
It doesn't work like that, I'm afraid. For those that tell you that, are probably forgetting to tell you the first 5 years of their business life where it was 24/7, 365 days a year. Be prepared to put the hours in, be prepared to put the work in, and the benefits will come with it.
Nice. And one last one, what advice will you give? What's the pro advice you give to anyone that owns a car or drives a car?
I would say maintenance is key. Get it checked before it's too late.
Okay.
Costs are getting out, a spiraling for everything. Your grocery shop, your energy bills, everything's going up. The one thing I wouldn't scrimp on is the car. Yeah, granted, if you can come down a quality for your tyres or something like that, fine. don't put it off.
Oh, okay.
You know, you hear that noise
Go for it.
more than once. That warning light comes on the dash. Do it as soon as you can. The longer you leave it, the chances are the worse it's going to be. They don't fix themselves. It's like your body.
Mhm.
You know, you get ill, you rest. You feel too ill, you go to the doctors. You
Yes.
want to be seen straight away because you're not going to get better on your own.
Nice. That's
Cars
good.
are the same.
Thank you so much, Jason.
No worries.
I
Thank
have enjoyed the conversation we've had today, and I look forward to visiting you down at your garage at some point.
Workshop. By all means, anything from, I'm going to say June. It
Okay.
should be in full swing by then.
All right. Okay.
Anything from June onwards, you're more than welcome to come and have a look at the workshop. You can have a film around the workshop, give you a tour, and
Yeah, I would like to come and see.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
the
should be
workshop, yes.
all up and going.
Jason, thank you so
No worries.
much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you all for watching. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and follow us for more videos like this. If you're in the Stevenage area and you have any car troubles, Jason from Mouth Motor Company is your man. From repairs, servicing, and whatever car troubles you could find yourself into. You could find him on Facebook, Instagram, and on Google. Thank you again. Until next time, drive safe.